It's occurred to me that there might be in all of these projects something like a placebo power, a usefulness in them not being realized because, of course, because it wasn't shown, you can then assume or project that had it been shown, so on and so forth. Massive ramifications. Whereas if it was done, yes, maybe that would have happened, but maybe it would have not happened. And with all of these, you have claims and hypotheses, and sometimes, reasonable expectations that had these works been shown to their fullest, the world would be a different place. And many people have written about you, had these things been done, there wouldn't be this economic or this environmental crisis. But something about that reminds me of art in general, that because art, you don't see its immediate effects, therein lies its power. You can't measure or gauge whether it's successful or not. So I was wondering if you can talk about that because these haven't been realized, they still have a success potential. Whereas if they had been realized, we would know,
My concern really is that we, as a civilization, are running out of time. We have global warming, we have ocean destruction, we have a desertification, we have species loss. We really have a very serious global problem, and survival of the human race is at issue. So we don't really have time. Now, let's say, take a look at this piece over here. Here's a case where I think we have a serious matter of profound delay. In New Zealand, it is reported as of 2010 that they are somehow the world pioneers in the idea of water plants from rivers like Elbe and Ceratophyllum, and certain water plants, ligneous plants, to be made into methane gas. And they say it's from a work with American firm Ocean Earth, my company, okay. But anyway, that's where we are, 2010. But in this year, 2000, the year 2000, 10 years earlier, I was given an offer based on work I had shown in Chicago by an institute for $2 million to work for 2 years to work on just that idea. And I have since developed some ideas of rigs and things in the water. But I mean, the point is that obviously if I had spent 2 years with $2 million budget and so on, I would have figured out all kinds of solutions to that issue. And this would have happened 10 years before what is now being promoted in the New Zealand press as 2010. Now that's quite important because the Midwest of the United States, this whole area within this catchment of the Gulf of Mexico, has enormous amounts of excess plants stuck behind dams and various lakes, and they don't know what to do with it, and this is exacerbated by the runoff from the farming. So you have a lot of very serious problems of eutrophication of the water. This could have been addressed. This could be a technology. This could be a know-how. And the 10-year delay is quite serious because we have not yet developed a really good biogas industry, and we could. Now, another point just to bear in mind, the reason why this didn't happen is that a man came up from Houston. You can check him on the web. His name is Richard Hout.
I've checked him on the web.
And you can see what he does. And he's really into the environmentally safe drilling. And his companies were Statoil and Exxon and Halliburton, and they are working on this rig, which is now in question. There's a legal question about whether that rig can even be there. It's in the court right now in somewhere in Louisiana, I think St. Charles of Louisiana. And I'm saying, hey, let's start now with other forms of biogas energy production there, and let's start also to say we cannot just have the oil companies do things their way. We have to do other things in this whole region in the way that was manifested or identified in this $2 million grant way back then. That's the delay we need to overcome. We can't say, okay, it was sort of slowed down because we have no time.
It amazes me. One of the things I understand from what you've just said is, and I think this makes you very different than almost any other artist I know, you're really willing to forfeit timelessness. That many artists want to make something that is makes sense forever, goes beyond our time. That doesn't seem to be your concern. Your concern seems to be, let's suspend that timelessness and deal with like these immediate problems, try and fix them.
Well, ironically, that's how art has been. I think that when you had cave art and you had to make a drawing on the wall, how to throw a spear, how to get the animal, that was very closely tied to the success of the hunt.
Yeah.
If they came back without the animal, or they came back maybe half of them lost because they broke their legs or died, then you would have to question the quality of the artist. You might even kill the artist and say it's bad magic. I don't know. I mean, you depended on the artist to give you the images that would work that day in that hunt, because you also have to collect the wood and so on. Your survival is every day, and I think the same with the fertility dolls. I mean, clearly they were trying to identify what in a woman we need to survive, because they didn't have hospitals then and so on. You had to have kind of Venus Willendorf type female, if we get the point. You need to have another kind of female model, and that was a life and death matter. So I think that art could be seen again as a life and death issue. It's not just, oh, I'm going to get myself in an art history book, or it's going to be timeless. No, it is about today's needs. And I think we'll find, if you just think about David, for example, the French painter, when things were and also Russian constructivism, when things are really quite dynamic politically, and there's a great deal of revolutionary excitement, then art kind of comes out of its box and it's really quite exciting. Because now, and I think it's even true when we had the Times Square show and so on, there's a certain nowness about it. When it gets into more repose, we were trying to make the eternal object, and you have the collector, and all trying to have the perfect collection, then it goes into essentially retreat and a kind of dormancy.
Wow.